okay? And I used that and I said, look, let's go with the one closed. If you guys want to play the what's closed game, this closed at $232 per square foot. Therefore, the current price of this one, if we want to go square foot, is only $309. But that was before subprime meltdown. So, as you can see, so it's really like that already. And I think it's only a matter of time. If stuff is not selling, and then you got more and more REO properties coming, I mean, the prices have to go down in my mind. I don't know what you're seeing. What's your take on all of it?
It's a little bit of the same. It's funny that every time I come here, we kind of can compare notes, and I can brief you a little bit of what we're seeing. It's a little bit of the same, and I'd like to, like I mentioned to you, kind of try to get some type of system in place. However, you just have to realize I'm not in a department that has a whole lot of that access.
Well, when are you going to be the vice president of that department?
I'm working on it. Next week, but
I mean, she's just like mamsy-pamsy, oh, I'm top producer, yeah. We want you in.
No, not at all. Even out in the field and taking still applications and still doing the refis, I still can have some communication, not with just my clients, but stories that they're telling me about people they know, and trying to draw that in so that we can start trying to help these people somehow, some way. But that's my only contact. It's my clients and people that are calling,
Right.
and people we're calling out to.
In a time previous, we were in a conversation, you were saying, look, we're rolling out some new loan products that we're really excited about. We think it's going to help the market this summer. Are you still feeling that way?
There's been some changes that we invented out, like like you're saying, every week. I'm hearing different things too out there. One of the things is that there's some kind of a national assistance for a lot of these buyers that got into loans and into homes prematurely with bad loans, where they can go to and get some type of assistance now too. They decided to make this change because of all of the numbers that you were talking about.
Is this sort of a governmental bailout kind of thing?
Yes.
Oh,
To
they
try to
did go
avoid-
for it. When was that?
This is just
Like recently,
new,
very
like,
recently.
Yeah, this last month, I think it's something that's become more national.
I'd like to know a little bit more about that.
It's NAA, I have the information in my office.
Have you heard if the big lenders are creating departments to rescue these people? Themselves. I mean, they did a bad loan back then.
I know that.
And all of a sudden, I mean, people like Virginia, we're going to be calling them and saying, hey, we give you a 6% or we give you a 3% that adjusts to 9%, but you know what, we would like to do it at 7% now and readjust your payment. Would you like to stay in your house and keep your house?
Some of my awareness around that came from an article that Sean forwarded to me, saying that, for instance, Washington Mutual is being very aggressive about doing just that. They're getting very, there's a lot of pressure on them, and to publicly and probably from politically to quit doing all this bad stuff, you know? And so they are, I think, and in fact, that's one of the listings that I took in Diamond Bar. As soon as I took it, and then I found out that what she really wanted to do, and she has Washington Mutual, I said, look, I just read an article that she was like in some crazy loan, like a 9 and 11%, and she's a nurse, she makes good money, she's very, but she just can't keep up with it, or else. Anyway, I said, look, there's a very good chance if you go back to them, they're going to reduce your rate to something more, ask them for 6%. And show them that you're good or whatever. So I lost that listing, but I helped her because I know that she's capable of making it. Some people have no way that they can possibly do it, but for her. So that's when I talk to people, I want to make sure what they really want to do, because if they really want to stay in the home, there's more and more evidence to show that the banks are starting to bend over backwards to keep them in their homes and keep a performing loan. Because do you guys know this, that every time an NOD is filed, that the bank has a reserve requirement of like 7 times the defaulting loan. They got to put aside. That's why they're going in Chapter 11. NOD, you know, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, they have to have 21 million in the bank as reserve. So that's why they're trying to get, that's also why, you know, every time they got a bad loan, it really hurts them financially, because then they can't make more loans and keep in business and do all that thing. So, so that's kind of the climate we've kind of said so far, the reasons for why it makes sense that we know how to navigate this, and I'm making the point that it's changing from week to week, from month to month. It's very evolving. It's like riding a tsunami wave, you know, right now, and just things everything's changing. It's like, for me, as a nurse in my last career, it's like working the ER all over again. You never know what's going to walk in the door, and then you deal with it, and you get blood on yourself, and then they go, and hopefully they make it. You know, you call up and they're in ICU recovering.
Nice way of putting it.
So, for some, you know, for some reason, it's an aspect of the business that, as much as I've been beaten up lately, I have like this graveyard, this cemetery of files that like didn't happen. But I have a few that are closing, and I think that as Gerardo and I have talked, we're starting to see a change. Whereas 2-3 months ago, they would be like, you know, pretty much go to hell. We're going to take this at you know, sale. Now they're saying, are you sure you don't want to buy it? We will stall the sale for you. You know, they're starting to be a little more. So I have, besides also talking to a guy who is, I'm meeting with him tomorrow, Mike Leonis. He says that he's getting 50% of his short sales approved. He's buying at investor type prices, and I'm going, if I can do what you're doing at better prices than that, then I should be closing all my short sales. I really should. I should be closing 9 out of 10 if I get good enough. And so, and the climate starts changing, where the lenders really are going to start dealing and all of that. And so basically, I think everybody pretty much knows if someone's upside down, the first thing you do is, you know, we need authorization. We need authorization to talk to the banks. We get a listing agreement, and usually I don't fill out the whole file because, God, it's a lot of work for if it doesn't close. So I get the stuff.
But would you get their cooperation if, let's say that you only take the agency, the listing agreement, and move forward on trying to stall the trustee sale and trying to get the short sale, and all of a sudden it sells, and this borrower has no interest on the transaction because it's, you know, he's not gonna get any money, and then you're gonna go back and pick up smoke detectors, water heater, because I also read that the sale does not exclude him from giving all the transfer disclosure statement and all this paperwork. Would you find them? What happened if you cannot?
Okay, that happened to me with Cornwall. The guy took off to Texas, and I was at this close from getting, and then I couldn't execute the final documents. He called me the morning of the sale. I go, dude, what happened to you? Yesterday, if you would have called me, you know. So what I'm doing, right or wrong, is on those people that I have a hard time getting a hold of, like this one lady that I've been dealing with. I met her this morning. She lives up north. Her whole family got in at the top of the market with 100% financing, put money to fix them up, and then everything turned around, and now her and her family have like 20 properties in the San Gabriel Valley somewhere that are upside down and at some level of the foreclosure process. Some are just late, you know, don't have an NOD yet. But like, she's up north, and then she's sick, and I get bits and pieces like, okay, I have this, but I don't have keys. I have this, but I don't have that signature. I'm going and getting power of attorneys so that I can do the little initials and all like that. I'm going to keep them involved, but I need more control of the deal, because if I'm going to bust my butt, I want to know that I can execute and dot the I's and cross the T's, and I'll take my chances with, you know, liability or whatever.
Yeah, but you have no knowledge of certain things on the property, that the seller is the one that has to do
Right,
it.
but that doesn't preclude me needing the short sale package from them. So I've got to get at least the short sale package from them, the listing agreement, the agency, and now I want the grant deed and the power of attorney too.
Okay.
Unless they're really stable and solid, and I can tell they're not disappearing on me. So that's what I got this morning, and then I look at the pages. She's got like these three things, and I go, the notary didn't like stamp 5 out of 6 of these. She goes, oh, oops. Oh God, we always get this close.